What is up, guys? Frugal BC here, and I hope everyone is having a good day. Some very interesting stuff going on in Algorand right now. A pretty contentious conversation, to say the least, and we are going to dive deeper into it. I made a video yesterday, and it caused a lot of stir, and now there's some more stuff that's come out about it. So we're going to cover that on today's show. Hope everyone is doing well. Thanks for being here. I'm Frugal BC, and if you're new here, please hit the like and subscribe button. Now, remember, hitting that like button really helps send the video out to more people. So I really love people to do that, both before and after. So if you're watching on replay, feel free to do that too. And this has been a pretty contentious topic. There's some people that are arguing that maybe it's a good idea to uncap supply, and then others, obviously I'm amongst them who don't think that's such a great idea. So we'll look at all that today. Lots going on, and we got some people on X, we got some people on Kick. Big shout out to our fans on Kick, and we got people in YouTube. So hope everyone's doing well. And chat is a little quiet on the YouTube side. We got a pretty good audience, but not a lot of people weighing in. So hope let us know you're here and let us know how things are going. And anyway, we will be getting to that news. Before we do that, we'll probably just look at the market. So why don't we just do that next and just see what's going on, because it's not looking great. Things pulling back again. Bitcoin back below 90,000. You know what? I was actually looking for an entry to buy in a little more, so that's probably a good excuse to do so. Pretty much everything back down. I know earlier in the week now we had a nice little pump back up, and it wasn't enough to really make a huge difference. It was starting to look good, and then we pull back again, and this has been the case, and I think this is going to continue to be the case. We're just not going to see a lot of strong crypto action until we get regulatory clarity. Finally, when the Clarity Act finally passes, I'm hearing that's not going to happen this year yet now, is what it's sounding like, which is not great. But yeah, this is the impacts. Everything on the 24 hours down somewhere between 3 and 7%, except for Unisat Leo. That one's always an odd one. Zcash up a little bit on the 24 hour. That's at least bullish. Can everyone hear me good? Is that sound coming through well? Not seeing a ton of exceptions. Yeah, even Hedera, we're a big fan of Hedera here. 13 down below 14 cents again. Now I'm still up on Hedera. I bought in, my average buy is around 5 cents. So this is not as concerning as it would be for some of the other coins I own. I would say is for some of the other coins I own. And boy, there's just not much to be excited about. This is just a sea of red on the day and the week, actually, which is unfortunate. We were having a nice little pump up, and that seems to have stopped. Yeah, near protocol at $1.69. I think I'm actually underwater on near now on my average buy, and I was way up for a long time. Everything's getting hit. PayPay almost 10% down. That's a meme coin. WorldCoin down almost 10%. Trump's probably not too happy about that. Aptos 10% down. We got some double-digit drops on the 24-hour. Polygon, I'm going to bring up Polygon later. Now is POL, used to be Matic. And yeah, that's going to be, this is an uncapped supply, so we're going to kind of talk about this. Algorand sitting at 13 cents, just a little bit below Hedera, and that's not fun. I really wish I had more to get excited about. I really do. Bonk at like 7%. That's not great. Just trying to see if there's really like everything, pretty much everything's down. There's just not a lot in the top 100. That's even that unusual. Everything just kind of fell. Here, this Telcoin is at least up on the 24 hour. One of the only ones. And we can't really count these, these stable coins don't really count on that. Graph down double digits. This one used to be in around, this used to be challenging Algorand, if you remember right. Now it's fallen quite a bit. There's Tezos, that's a blast from the past. making its way into the top 100. This hasn't been in the top 100 for a while, so that's interesting. I used to own a ton of Tezos. I actually, in fact, I switched all my Tezos to Algorand at one point. That was back when I had both of them on Coinbase in staking. Yeah, so not much. Boy, there's just really not much to talk about, not much to get excited about in the crypto markets. Let's check out the Algorand markets. Now, for those, I'm sure a lot of you know, this is these are the coins that are built on Algorand, so they call it ASAs, kind of a secondary token here. And I thought this was notable. Alpha Arcade is now the #1 ASA in terms of TVL, and these are measured by TVL. So, but even market cap, it's got a pretty high market cap at 5 million. Not bad. Algo Gary in the chat says, top of the day. Hope everyone has a relaxing Friday. Yeah, be relaxing if you stay away from the charts. You definitely don't want to be looking at the charts today. So let's just go down some of these because I think they're interesting. Like I said, Alpha Arcade is actually up on the 7-day and up a little bit on the 1 hour and 24 hour, which is pretty interesting. Same with Folks, by the way, up 2% in the last hour and about 19% up on the week. So I've been following this with some interest. I haven't put any money into it. Just very curious. As you guys know, I had an Alpha Arcade experiment. If you own this coin, Alpha Arcade is a prediction market built on the Algorand blockchain. And if you buy the Alpha token, you get a cut of the fees that the prediction market earns when people trade. So right now, the last I checked, it was around somewhere between 5 and 6% APY. But you get paid out in USDC, which I think is really smart because it doesn't crash the price of the token. Because I found that when you pay out in the underlying token, people want to cash that out. They want to take those rewards and cash it out. And that's what happens. You might wish they didn't, but that's just what they do. And so if you do that, you end up tanking the price of the coin, and then everyone suffers. And we found this I first discovered this on Gala Games when I was playing the Townstar game, and they have the Town coin. And the Town coin was the reward token. Well, people didn't, there were uses for it. People could have used it, but they generally didn't. They just took it and cashed it in. That's what they do. Yeah, exactly. Algo Gary says facts. Totally true. It's just what people are going to do. So so I think Alpha Arcade paying out in US dollar coin is really smart because it doesn't impact the price of the token. PokeGo falling back a little bit. Folks Finance, like we said, up. And then Haystack up a little bit on the 24 hour, not so much on the 7-day chart. So up 2%, falling a little bit. Otherwise, everything else pretty much a sea of red, except Mercury Index up a little bit on the 24 hour, which by the way, I'm really glad they added this 24 hour row. I don't know if they listened to me or if it came from other people. And the only other exception is there's been a little rise in Opulus. I don't really want to shout that out because I think they really screwed over the Algorand community. So I hope that token. This used to be up in the top 1 or 2, falling almost out of the top 30. I'd like it just to be off the front page. That would make me really, really happy. So you can see most viewed people really are interested in Alpha and Folks and Haystack. And by the way, it's a probably good chance to talk about Haystack. You can there's a link in my description that you can sign up for Haystack, and I'll get a referral credit for it, and then you can start referring people and get a cut of their fees when you refer people to Haystack. It is a mobile app that makes trading on Algorand easier than any other app, and the cheapest that you can find. So definitely a good thing, and I really like doing that. While I'm doing that, we should look at Marcus, because Marcus is also, and that's been down a little bit. Marcus Furlius, a meme coin and NFT project on the Algorand blockchain. High TVL confidence. You like to see that. Price action hasn't been great lately. Fair enough. But they're always building, doing wonderful things, and I just like the idea of the project. I think it's a cool idea. Just spreading the word about stoicism. And so I think that's really neat. I just want to shout out our channel sponsors, but we can get back to the show. So we can go over to, and I'm still searching for a better version of this. If anybody in my chat is an HBAR fan and knows of a better a better set of charts than this. You know, you're only getting 24 hour. It's not even marked. I had to figure it out on my own that this is 24 hour. Not looking good. Just like the Algorand charts, not looking great. Gib is down almost 7%. That seems to be the worst one. Oh, other than Smack, FM is pretty bad too. Probably second place for worst performer over 24 hours. But pretty much everything is down from sauce to pack to, you know, I tried to get the hash pack people on, and I don't know why people in crypto are like this sometimes, where you ask them, and instead of just saying yes or no, they give you like this, oh, that could be cool. It's like, yeah, well, I'm asking you, so is it yes or no? And I don't know, it's been a little frustrating sometimes. I am setting something up with Nyla, which is that trading bot, the AI agent that works on Solana and Algorand. So looks like I asked a long time ago, but we weren't following. I don't think he was following me. Now they're following me. So they responded, said that they'd be happy to do it. So I think next week, probably Thursday, we're going to have them on. So keep an eye out for that. That should be fun. In fact, we can go look at that. Because I think I did a video on this before, or at least it was included in Agent Nyla. I like the branding. Kind of went for that Samus from Metroid look. And Nyla, the interactive AI agent. Oops, I should probably, sorry about that. Nyla, the interactive agent, swap, transfer, build, create from anywhere. Is that a Solana address? I don't know. We can actually look at the. Hold on a second. Yeah, here's, well, we can even well, yeah, probably zoom in like that. Nyla AI, so you can learn about the technology, the community, art team, docs, all this good stuff in the app. Let's go learn more. Maybe we can learn a little bit about Nyla here. I wonder if that works better here than. Oops, back to the other one. So this will talk about who it's designed for. Nyla is designed for everyone, newcomers who want to use crypto without learning wallets, seed phrases, and complex interfaces, experienced users who want to streamline token swaps, portfolio actions, and DeFi operations, and teams and protocols looking for automation and engagement directly with social media channels. Now, I got to dig into this a lot more, but basically you can go through X and you can just give it a command like, hey, Agent Nyla, send 10 USDC to CryptoPal here, and then it goes to. It's pretty neat. I think it works similar to Banker, which I'm still trying to get the hang of as well. I don't know if you guys know about Banker, and I've got some Banker sent to me or something like that. There's still a lot I have to learn on this. Apparently I have $50 worth of base. I don't know where that came from, but I guess that's pretty cool, huh? So anyway, we will be interviewing someone from Agent Nyla, and that should be a lot of fun. White chat is really quiet. Usually I have a lot to respond to, but that's okay. We got plenty of news. And you know what? I think we will start with this. I think we're going to start with the Algorand uncapping its supply. So I kind of wrote a piece this morning about this, kind of summarizing everything that I found. So I think what we'll do is we'll just go through that piece because this came out yesterday, and I'm just going to go through what happened. This came out yesterday that I started seeing a lot of chatter on X about Algorand uncapping its supply. Now, what does that mean? Well, Algorand has a current max supply of 10 billion. That means 10 billion. That means that only 10 billion coins would ever be created. And you know, for people who follow, you know, our Bitcoin maxis or at least big fans of Bitcoin, you know that's a big deal to have a capped supply. It means it introduces scarcity, which should theoretically improve the price. Now, I think people over-index on that, and I'll get to that in the story here. because you also need the demand side. So people talk about the supply side, and a scarce supply of something no one wants doesn't really matter how scarce it is, right? You have to have that demand side. People have to actually want it. And I don't know that Algorand has done enough to have that demand. Otherwise, we'd have a higher price. But uncapping the supply definitely would be worse. Now, I think I'll just start with this story, and we'll just kind of talk through this. Feel free to weigh in while you're watching this. And we have a Hedera segment coming up as well. But let's get through this. Let's take a look here. So, oh, by the way, well, I'll get to that. All right, so this is what I write, by the way. It's frugalbc.substack.com. If you guys want to subscribe, highly recommend it. I'm trying to keep up with it. Been doing a lot more on writing on X, which has been taking off, by the way. But but anyway, I'm gonna try to do this every Friday and just write this write a piece for either on Algorand or Hedera or another crypto topic. Alex Franco says Algorand for the win. Not sure about H-bar. Well, I got to tell you, we'll get to that toward the end. But right now, I've been covering way more H-bar news than Algorand. It's just win after win after win for Hedera, and I'm a big fan of both. But I gotta say, it's flipped, because I used to really have to struggle to find Hedera news, and I could find Algorand news easily, and that's starting to flip a little bit. Anyway, let's just read through this, and I'll kind of give my commentary as we go. So the title was Algorand could uncap its supply and people aren't happy, which is true. Some people think this is good. Spiritual Beer says opposite world, Algorand isn't doing much. H-bar is killing it with adaptation and infrastructure partnerships. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. There's just been so much news in Hedera lately. It really has kind of flipped. All right, let's get through this. So, like much in crypto, news started circulating first on X that Algorand Foundation is considering uncapping its supply. Right now, Algorand is a cap supply coin. The max supply is 10 billion tokens, and the idea is that there will never be more of that than that. It's a common refrain heard from Bitcoin maxis. But unlike Bitcoin, there's a serious talk about Algorand uncapping its supply. The idea is that Algorand would mint new tokens to reward node runners. Has the foundation officially said anything about this? Not yet. They have also not come out and denied it, despite the robust community conversation. So where did I get this from? You might some people asked that in the chat yesterday, and I've had some behind the scenes conversations that I'm not going to reveal my sources, because otherwise you just don't get those behind the scenes conversations. And what they basically tell me is nothing is off the table, including that. So don't think this is a pure conjecture, okay? So where else did it come from? And I got some stuff after I made my video, which is why I'm doing the follow-up. Now, some pointed to a recent space that was unfortunately unrecorded. And so that's probably why it got revealed there, because it can't be traced back. But they said in which CEO Stacey Warden allegedly said the foundation is considering it. So is considering uncapping the supply. Others point to this blog post, which I'm going to... And this is the blog post in case you're interested. Let's see. I'm going to move that a little bit. And this is by Jenny Levin. I think I called her Janine in my pinned tweet, and I apologize for that. Jenny Levin. She is the chief counsel for Algorand. And the thing I want to point out, for Algorand, these regulatory developments. So let me back up. She's talking about how the SEC basically said, specifically in its statement of certain protocol staking activities, the division emphasized that the operation of proof-of-stake networks is governed by an underlying software protocol consisting of a computer code that programmatically enforces certain network rules, including staking rewards distributions. And when a validator selected, the protocol issues two types of staking rewards: newly minted or creating tokens that are programmatically distributed but to the validator by the network in accordance with the underlying software protocol, and a percentage of the transaction fees paid by parties who are seeking to add their transactions to the network. Now, this is the second one, okay? Right now, Right now, Algorand operates by the second one plus an additional benefit. So it's interesting because that's actually not included, by the way. It's actually not included. I don't see, because they're not newly minted. Well, I guess they are. Would that count as newly minted? I'm not sure. Basically, the Algorand is taking coins and they're also rewarding. So for Algorand, these regulatory developments carry particular relevance. Today, staking rewards are issued from a finite pool of algos located in the foundation's treasury. While we do not believe that Algorand's current staking model implicates the efforts of the tower test, it is clear that SEC's recent guidance. As we look ahead, this perspective must inform our planning, especially within the context of Project King Safety, our initiative to ensure the protocol sustainability over the long term. Aligning Algorand's staking model with this guidance will not only reinforce compliance, but also strengthen the network's foundation for enduring growth. So in other words, this treasury is going to run out. So people are saying this, and people are saying this is pointing to the idea that, well, if you can't do the first one, you might have to do the second one, which is, or actually the second, I guess I reversed that. If you can't do the second one, you might have to do the first one. In other words, newly minting tokens, because you notice that having tokens and then just handing them out, she's saying like it isn't covered in this, even though she thinks it's not part of the Howey test. It's also not covered in the framework, either newly minted tokens or a percentage of the transaction fees. Now, they could just go to transaction fees, I suppose, but then we wouldn't be concerned about this, right? So let's go back and read. So there's one more source, and I didn't link the X post, I forgot, but Algorand's business development manager started talking about how uncapping has worked for Polygon. And people asked, like, wait a minute, are you considering uncapping supply? He just said, well, it's not within his powers. So again, he didn't say, yeah, nobody in Algorand is doing that. He just said, oh, I'm not able to do that myself, which is, not exactly a full denial. So I do want to, before we continue on, I do want to make it 100% clear that this has not been confirmed by the Algorand Foundation. But shockingly, and we're going to check on this because maybe something has happened since I wrote this, but maybe it's been, because maybe something has happened, but so far they have not denied this despite all the community talk about this. And we have these sources suggesting that this is in the works. Now, Algo Gary says, what other ways besides price appreciation is there to generate profits on Hedera? Generally curious nodes, can't mine it. Well, it'd be it's basically proof of stake. Like, how would that be any different than Algorand? I mean, I think price appreciation and fees are pretty much the same thing. They have fees too. Eddie Gill says you have to pay the bills with uncapped supply. Well, that seems to be what they're trying to do. Now you'll note, I noted this yesterday in my video that there's 8.8. I think they put the Algorand Foundation in the last 12 months had sold 500,000 Algorand. That's a lot of Algorand. So, I'm sorry, 500 million, not 500,000, 500 million Algorand. As you can imagine, that's $500 million, and there's 8.8 out now, which means they're going to run out pretty soon. Like, if that's a year's operations, then they've got like another, 2-3 years to go? And then what happens? And I don't hear them planning to unwind. Now, some people have complained about the size of the foundation, and I think there's probably some legit complaints there. There's a really big staff, and people have pointed out it's bigger than Ethereum. It's bigger than, Algo Gary says the difference is the trilemma. Well, we'll see. People are flocking to Hedera. We're seeing a lot of enterprises go with Hedera lately. Anyway, I'm not really trying to make this a Hedera versus Algorand thing. Algorand holders have been frustrated with the price action. I think we can all agree on that. Nobody's super happy about that. Looking back 1 year, Algorand's price was the worst of its competitors including Sweet, XRP, HBAR, etc. I looked at a bunch of different coins and how they had done over the year, and like pretty much everything was down, but Algorand was down the worst. It was like 60% down from a year ago. And I think I did this, I think it was about a week ago that I posted that. I don't think much has changed. I think it's gotten worse, if anything. So the one thing a lot of holders are clinging to are is the cap supply. And the fact that most of the circulating supply has been released. And now that's not the case anymore. And by the way, I do think that thinking is flawed. Because like I said earlier, you're not considering the demand side. Algo Gary says, how many TPS is Hedera capable of? Testnet has been going at 10,000. But that it hasn't. They haven't had like a 10,000 block like Algorand has. To be fair. Anyway, Eddie Gill says coins like ICP have uncapped supply, but have a burn mechanism which can make coin deflationary. Project gets a lot of use. I mean, it's possible. I think you definitely have to have the burn mechanism if you're going to do that. But then you have to have the demand, and that's the part that would make me nervous about that. Speaking of Polygon, because some people in my chat pointed out to Polygon, not here, but on my X thread that I made, the coin has dropped 90% in the last couple of years. It's one of the worst performers in my bull market portfolio. So you guys who have are channel members, and I don't know if anyone in the chat is a channel member, but you're seeing my bull run portfolio. Polygon, which is now POL, it used to be Matic, one of the worst ones in my portfolio. And I was surprised about that because of its past performance. Polygon is once in the top 20 for market cap. Now it's neck and neck with Algorand in the 50s. And there are just over 10 billion Polygons circulating, but no cap. So it might be understandable that the Algorand community sentiment is largely against this. Many are saying this is the last straw for holding the token. I saw a lot of this on X yesterday, and you don't want to see that. And seeing so much of that, I'm really surprised the foundation has not said something about it, but we'll take a look in a minute. Will they really leave? Who knows? Every election, people say they're going to flee to Canada or some other country if the candidate they don't like is elected, and yet they still seem to stay in place. That said, it's a lot easier to sell a coin. So yeah, it's a big difference there. I mean, I know the thing I was pointing at is a lot of people say, oh, well, people will talk more than they'll actually do. You know, people are like, oh, I'm done with this coin, and they never actually leave. But, you know, it's a pretty low barrier. I mean, it's not that hard to sell your coins. So, I don't know. We'll see. Algo Gary says FUD. Well, I disagree. I think, so I don't know. Are they going to do it? Why don't we take a look here? I might have to readjust. So I doubt the foundation said anything. But let's look. Let's see if they posted anything about it. I kind of doubt it. Nope. We did cover this bullfrog power news, and I think this was good. Let's see if Stacy Warden said anything. This is an area where the CEO should definitely come out and say something, by the way. Nope, she'd been pretty quiet. How about Mark? Still not even following me, by the way. I just want to point that out. Just looking here. Yeah, not really seeing anything about it. Let's see, who else? I don't think he would say anything about it. Talking about India, the India Summit. Spiritual Beer says Polygon ICP equals trash. Had hopes for Matic back in the day. Oh, well. And the funny thing is, Matic has had a lot of, well, it's not Matic anymore. It's Polygon. But they've been having a lot of like payment partnerships and stuff, you know, stuff that looks actually really bullish. and yet the price just keeps dropping. And I think it's just the supply issues. Olivia Franchi says Hedera is not decentralized at all. Well, it's definitely less decentralized than we would like it. That's something I hope gets addressed. But sometimes I wonder, like, is that even? It depends what you mean by decentralized. You know, it really is a spectrum. It's not a yes or no question. So it's more decentralized having, however many, what is it, 30 now, council members, than it is like Hedera doing everything. But it's also like not as good as Algorand having tons of validators that are independent, that don't report to the foundation, don't have a relationship with the foundation generally. So the only one I can think of is Nick. Why doesn't he ever come up? There he is. I doubt he would say anything. Yep, not really. So anyway, so nobody's saying anything about this yet. So like I said, supposedly my sources tell me that Stacey Warden had, is it 31? Yeah, I think it's 31. Definitely would like more than that. And I would like them to be, I hope they move into like a community validator model down the road. I think that would be good, but I will tell you, I think a lot of enterprise clients see the caliber of companies that are running validators on Hedera, and I think that gives them a lot of confidence. Because if you're like running, I don't know, name a business. If I'm running, well, IBM's a bad example because I'm just trying to think of a. Let's say I'm running. I'm the CEO of Coca-Cola, and I'm like, hey, we want to get into crypto. We want to get into crypto, and who are we going to do it with? This random coin that we've never heard of, or look, Google and IBM and LG are behind this token. That sounds great. Let's go for that one. You know what I mean? Like I really think a lot of these business clients see those names, and that's when you have tech as good as algo but almost zero interest, and that's pure mismanagement, ongoing mismanagement. A lot of people think that. There's a lot of people that think that. And I don't know that they're wrong. I mean, Algo Gary says we can't act like we haven't been using pennies to transact for little years. How many pennies does it take to make an Algorand? We're all free to give up whatever. Nobody's being forced to be here. There has been mismanagement of the US dollar for years. I think Canton CC gains ground. That's going to appeal to Algo, XLM, ADA buyers, to be honest. Algo Garrett, you're fired up today, but you know what? We gotta call it how it is, man. So I'm really hoping this uncap doesn't happen. Bottom line, I think it'd be really bad for Algorand. I think a lot of people, I think it'll be the last straw for a lot of people. But the structured selling has, I don't think there's been a good sustainability plan. I think people like John from NFD, from Transaction Labs, has said, hey, this should be run like a startup. It should be super lean. It's being run more like a Fortune 500 company. I kind of agree with that. So it is what it is. Now we covered this, and we will keep an eye out to see what happens with that. If it does happen, I don't know. It's going to affect how I allocate my resources. Doesn't mean I'll be out. I still think it's a great, useful chain. I do a lot of stuff that isn't Algorand. Like I've been buying, I wanted to start buying gold. I'm buying it on Algorand. It's just easier than, I don't know, what would I do? Go to a coin store and buy coins that way? I guess I could, but I can buy little fractions. It's nice. DDRAB says Hedera will eventually go to permissionless nodes. Permission nodes are for early network security. And Hedera is newer than Algorand. We have to keep that in mind. So, but yeah, I would like to see those permissionless nodes come sooner than later. And yes, as Olivier said, he asked how many Algorand validators. There's a lot now that they made staking rewards. And I hope Hedera learns the lesson from Algorand. You need staking rewards, otherwise, there were like, I don't know what, less than 100 people doing it. Now it has something like 1,700. It's a lot. And boy, the chat really woke up, huh? Jim says, I agree with Algo Gary. I agree with you 100% about the tech. Most people haven't actually moved money with Algo. It's great tech, but there's zero market appeal, man. And I think, that's a great point. And that's something I said for a long time. That's something I controlled for quite some time. It's something I said for a long time is that there just needs to be a simple money app that people can use, people non-crypto people can use, because people aren't, even just like creating a wallet to you and I, like, we're used to this now. But if you're brand new, I helped someone who was, older than me, probably about 10 years older than me, and she was interested in Algorand, and I helped her set up a wallet. And like the stuff you and I might take for granted, she did not. It was very confusing. Drab says Hedera is at 2.5% now. Yeah, that's definitely not fun. The percentage that you earn for staking isn't great. Bitcoin was created in the early 2000s. What was 2009? Nobody controls the algorithms. It's not really an algorithm. There's quite a debate going on in the chat. I'm gonna get some coffee, and I got my coffee. Wonder how that's doing on X. I just want to see. We're gonna get to our Hedera segment. Speaking of, okay, 2008 published in 9. Fair enough. Well, I think the chain started in 09, right? Like the first mining and all that. Yeah, I think the white paper came a little earlier, but let's see. So thanks for everyone for tuning in, by the way. And if you haven't already, please hit the like button. Helps spread the channel around, helps spread the debate around. I think we got a nice, healthy debate going on, and I think everyone's being respectful. But I just want to remind everyone to, in the chat, to be respectful to each other. You can definitely have arguments and disagreements, but let's keep it civil, which you guys have, and I really appreciate you guys keeping it civil. IMJ says, unfortunately, pounding the true specs of a project doesn't make your average retail employee buy it. They buy herd narratives. Yeah, I think that's 100% true. I bought Bitcoin with the CVS Red Phone back in 2013. Talk about a paradigm shift in mindset. That's crazy. Having an argument about whether number go up is an indication of use case. Yeah, I'll let you guys battle that out. I think I've said this for a long time. If you think the tech means the price is going to go up, it definitely doesn't. You can have the best tech and it just doesn't matter. You have to have the narrative. The narrative has to be there. Even with the usage, I was pretty shocked when I learned that the foundation had to pay World Chess to use their features. Like, I know there was a lot of debate. I got in some hot water for that one, and I don't care. Like, I think it's crazy. That was like, sit back in your seat. Like, wait a minute. And then you couple that with Silvio Macaulay creating the fiat chain and saying that businesses don't want to be on the blockchain. It makes me nervous. Let's see. What are we going to start with here? We're going to get to our Hedera segment next, which we almost combined the two. Oh, this would be a good one to start with. Okay, let me get a little coffee and some water. You guys in the chat are having a lot of fun. I will say, I love the debate. Just keep it going. Just remember to keep it respectful, and you guys are. So just keep it to the facts, keep it to the arguments. But you guys are, and I'm not saying you're not. Like Algorand. Oh man, I just realized I misspelled Algorand. Good grief! How is it still getting? Hold on, I gotta fix that. I wonder if that's why it's getting views. Our channel's definitely getting some views. Investable support? I don't. Did someone say investable support? I don't. All right, let's spell Algorand correctly in our title. There we go. It's probably too late to fix on X too. I don't think I can fix it. I don't think it's gonna fix. Spiritual Bill says I like Algorand better. Algo Gary saying that Michael Saylor's going bankrupt shortly. I don't know about that. Investable support. Where is that? Must be farther up than I can. Oh, there it is. Investable support. Okay, fair enough. Well, I'll let you guys continue. Meanwhile, we're gonna get to this. Yeah, I'm gonna refresh this. Let's see if it fixes my title. Nope, I'm screwed with that title. That title's gonna stick around. Let's walk back. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about this. Okay. So as you know, when I do my segments, I don't necessarily respond to chat. I should. Oh, he's got ISO 20022. Okay. I'm not going to respond to chats unless they are relevant to the segment. So keep that in mind. But let's get started. And the news keeps pouring in for Hedera HBAR. And the latest is that Anchorage Digital just added custody support for HBAR. And this might seem like a small piece of news, but it's actually much, much bigger than that. We got Marco to break this down for us. So let's go see what he has to say about this. Anchorage Digital adds custody support for HBAR. This is a major institutional unlock for Hedera. This is coming from Marco. Now, Marco put ISO 20022 in his bio. You know how I feel about that silliness, but we'll leave that for another day. You can watch my videos on that. Most people underestimate this news. Anchorage Digital isn't just a random custodian. It's the first and only U.S. federally chartered crypto bank regulated by the OCC. That is the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. When Anchorage lists an asset, it's because institutions asked for it. Custody is the #1 requirement for institutional allocation. If regulated custodian doesn't support an asset, funds, banks, corporates, and asset managers can't legally touch it. Now they can touch HBAR. This is an asset unlock. Now, that's kind of true because you can still get the ETFs, and plenty of, those have been approved. The Canary ETF has been doing really well. We've covered that. And so that's that. But anyway, let's put it clearly. Anchorage custody support means HBAR is now eligible for institutional balance sheets, corporate treasuries, asset managers, venture funds, registered investment products, OTC desks, and enterprise-grade DeFi integrations. And this opens in the entire categories of capital. Anchorage has strict asset selection policy. They only add assets with strong fundamentals, proven security, enterprise-grade architecture, predictable fees, regulatory clarity, and real-world usage metrics. HBAR checks every box. That's not common. I'm not so sure about this one yet, to be honest, because we're still waiting for the Clarity Act. So until that happens, I think we're still I think we're still hoping for a little more. I think big things are going to happen once that Clarity Act gets passed. Sounds like it's not going to happen this year, unfortunately, but could be coming soon. Anyway, HBAR checks every box. That's not common. Why HBAR fits the institutional profile, Enterprise Governance Council. And again, that's what I was saying before in my last segment. Seeing these names, like I know like people who are crypto people would love more way I'm sorry, would love way more decentralization, and I totally agree. But when you see these names, I mean, if you're a big business, you're the CEO of Coca-Cola, and you've got to like pick a crypto company to work with, and I know it's a Ledger, DLT, whatever. Um, you're gonna like seeing these names. You're gonna be like, oh well, I can go to my board and say, yeah, these guys work with Google, they work with IBM, LG. I think there's a couple other ones. Isn't Dell on there too? So yeah, that matters a lot. He's going. This goes on. I'm not going to cover the whole thing, but bottom line, this unlocks capital, gives legitimacy, signals trust, enables regulated participation. It prepares HBAR for the macro wave of institutional adoption coming with real world tokenization. So I think this is like one of the best pieces of news for Hedera in a while, and there's been a lot of good news lately, like a lot. As I've said earlier, like there's been so much to cover on Hedera lately. But that is not all. Bitnomial announces the launch of the first. God dang it. Sorry about I hate those pop-ups. Bitnomial announces the launch of first ever U.S. leveraged retail spot crypto exchange operating under CFTC federal regulation. Bitnomial offers physical settled HBAR futures contracts, which began trading in March 2025. Now I stay away from leverage. I don't touch leverage ever. Guys, keep it civil. Keep it civil. Anyway, offers. So I just don't do leverage at all. I think it's a bad idea. You really have to know what you're doing to not get wrecked, and most people are probably just going to get wrecked. So I would stay away from that. But it's interesting that it's there anyway. Archax. Now we've covered Archax. Archax has been partnered with Hedera for a very long time. And as you can see here, Archax is proud to announce the tokenization of and first on-chain transaction of the Canary HBAR ETF on the Hedera network. On Thanksgiving, Turkey Day, I was stuffing my face with turkey, let me tell you. While traditional US markets were closed, Archax facilitated a live out-of-hours transaction of the tokenized Canary HBAR ETF. They missed the, I think they missed the A there. Oops. This demonstrates how regulated financial products can transact 24/7 on blockchain infrastructure, even during market closures for public holidays. So you can see the whole thing there. We're not going to dive into that. I think this is amazing, and this is what we're talking about when we bring this stuff on chain, on DLT. I know, stop it. Oh, is it actually technically HBR without the A? Because I see that on here too. That could be. I mean, it seems silly. Why not just spell out the A? But whatever. The fact that these will increase access, but also not just like access for like numbers of people who can get involved in this, but it will also help them get. It will also help people access it, on Thanksgiving or at 2 a.m. in the morning if you want to trade. It's just going to open up the markets, bring in way more liquidity, and keep things flowing and moving. And so I think this is the future, we're done with banker hours, okay? We're done with banker hours. Archax making it possible, partnered with Hedera. So very lively chat going on while we're reading this. And I thought this was really interesting. And I wonder if Hedera or if Algorand should do something similar. So Hedera says, mark your calendars for Hedera Dev Day. Hedera Dev Day 2026 lands February 17th in Denver, alongside Ethereum Denver. Join us for a full day dedicated to building, learning, and connecting across the Hedera and EVM ecosystems. More to come, don't miss out. So I think this is a really interesting idea. So you're going to have ETH Denver anyway. They're just going to add their Dev Day right alongside of ETH Denver. So that's actually pretty smart, I think. Now, I've been debating going to East Denver this year because I feel like I could actually get some stuff going on. Um, I feel like it'd be a good chance, especially if Hedera is going to have their event. That might be a good day to make some contacts in the Hedera space. Something that I've started to do, but kind of struggle with overall a little bit. I'd like to increase that. So, yeah, I think this is a great idea, and might push me over the edge, especially since Eat Denver is basically free, it doesn't cost anything. So, yeah, definitely going to consider that. And was there anything else? Well, we got a little update on this is the last thing here. Got a little update on the Canary Capital's H-bar Hedera ETF, which has increased its holdings again. Now there is 459,743,000. Wait, hold on, I screwed that up. 459,743,376 H-bar. Can't we just round out to 460 million? Market value of 66.47 million. Now, of course, you'd hope that's higher, the price of H-bar, etc. But yeah, going up with the 50 billion camp supply, the ETF now holds roughly 0.92% of all H-bar that will ever exist. So almost a full percent. Another steady climb in institutional accumulation, even with volatile market conditions. The bid for Hedera continues to strengthen quietly and consistently. Very good news for H-bar ETFs. I agree. Oh, this is the price of the ETF itself, huh? Now, see, they actually put the A in it, so I'm a little confused. I think that's all. This bottom one? Did I cover this? I don't know if I did, but it's kind of neat, so maybe we'll just talk about it really quick. Accenture accelerates agentic AI innovation with OpenAI collaboration. Global AI transformation at scale. Accenture has announced a major partnership with OpenAI, bringing ChatGPT Enterprise to tens of thousands of professionals, the largest enterprise AI rollout to date. The collaboration will help enterprises across finance, healthcare, and retail build real-world AI-powered workflows, supported by a new flagship AI client protocol for large-scale enterprise adoption. And what does this have to do with Hedera? Well, let's see. Agent AI plus DLT, the Hedera connection. Beyond productivity, Accenture is also building trust in AI. In collaboration with Equity Lab, NVIDIA, and Hedera, Accenture is developing a verifiable compute infrastructure for public sector applications. So you see, like, this is a huge partnership. So if I'm the CEO of NVIDIA and I'm picking a coin, I'm picking a project to work with, the one that has Google and IBM and all those other big names attached to it, that might be the one I choose, don't you think? This is what's happening. The system uses Hedera's ABFT consensus and Hedera consensus service to verify AI computations with immutable timestamps, auditability, and data integrity, enabling transparent, verifiable AI outcomes. So that's a pretty big deal. This is a great partnership here and very cool. So that's I think that's all our Hedera stuff. Meanwhile, our chat is going bananas. Now, one thing I want to point out, have you noticed that my camera is not refocusing? It was doing this thing where it would focus and refocus. It would suddenly focus on the background for like 2 minutes and then refocus. So everything online that I read said you should use center focus, and so that's what I was doing. But I actually learned that single shot is the thing that actually brings it back into focus. So if you use single shot, I switched it and it has been crystal clear and perfect ever since. Yeah, DRAB says Georgia, the country, has announced in public sector DLT rollout. And I actually covered that in my video earlier this week. Algorand asking if I can check the master charts. Let's see what we got here. I saw something about that today. Yeah, so as you can see, in fact, we can zoom out a little bit here. down to yeah, down 4%, which Bitcoin is down too. A lot of people are saying this is operating like levered Bitcoin, but yeah, it's not been doing well over a month. Down over 6 months. That's not good. Down over year to date. Down 1 year. Way up 5 years. So, um, yeah, very interesting chart. Bitcoin's biggest booster, Michael Saylor, fights to stave off an $8 billion collapse and being the first major crypto domino to fall. Bitwise reports strategy won't sell Bitcoin even if shares drop. Well, they have been dropping. Strategy, a new crypto winter raises risk around dividends and junk preferreds. I wish I could center this. That'd be kind of neat. Analyst downgrades MicroStrategy. Yeah, I probably wouldn't do. I would just buy Bitcoin. If you like Bitcoin, just buy Bitcoin. I'd say. Well, congrats, guys. We got 100 chats. Crazy what Hedera's been up to. Got to go. Got work to do. Fair enough. Fair enough. Olivia says thanks for the show. Appreciate that. Yeah, quite the chat there today. You guys are having a lot of fun, a lot of back and forth. And yeah, interesting. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with this uncap thing. I think that's going to be the death knell for Algorand, if I'm being honest. I don't think that's we aren't trying to be anything we're not. No, fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, you guys the lively debate is nice. I like it. You know what? Because it brings a good healthy chat is good. I think it was pretty respectful for the most part. Got a little tense there toward the end, but it's all good. So yeah, I want more people, however, to comment on my nice crisp video. That's finally work. We are a RWA. We are a family, not a bunch of apes on a bud looking for a number to go up. Well, I don't want number to go down though. Right? I mean, at some point, like this is an investment. I mean, I enjoy, and here's the thing. Like there's a difference between the price of Algorand and just the usefulness of the chain. So, like I said, there's a lot I do on Algorand that has nothing to do with Algorand itself. I got Alpha Arcade is a good project that I've been dealing with. Like I said, I'm putting my gold, my Ethereum is on Algorand too, because it's just easier to work with. I can swap super cheap if I want to trade. Jim says, Algo Gary isn't remotely a space leader. He's a gatekeeper. Well, I don't know about that. Good luck going broke. Oh, you guys. Well, I don't know. You guys can fight amongst each other. But I think I believe in being realistic about stuff. Yeah, I know you're gonna be here, buddy. I know Algo. I know Algo Gary. But I mean, there's people. This is something that gets talked about a lot, and I don't think it's wrong to hope that an investment improves over time. I think that's fine. I think there's different ways to look at it. Like I said, I mean, let me just I'm gonna pull this up off stream. I'm just gonna pull up my wallet and see what else. Well, I was doing Lofty. That one did not pan out the way I'd hoped. I'm still trying to unwind a lot of that. Like I said, I'm buying my gold on chain. Jim says I do as well. Realistically, Algo has issues. I do think it has some issues. Luke says thanks, appreciate you being here. I still manage somehow. I have the tiny that's locked up. Yeah, I'm not doing anything with that tiny other than have it locked up. I do have some Algo Gary. Just saying, got some Algo Gary. I don't. Is it just Gary? I guess it's just Gary. Trab says thanks for the H bar. Yeah, we will. We'll definitely do more. And check out. I made videos too during the week. On Tuesday, I made an H bar video. You can see the Georgia news and shoot, there was another big one that I had. I had a lot of stuff. The purity argument. I don't know what that is. Actually finished my segments a little earlier. I didn't put together a chain link segment this week, so now I'm just kind of responding to chat and see if there's anything interesting to talk about. Did you know that? Oh, I should yeah, I'm gonna share this. Hold on, I'm gonna share this. Did you know that Anthony Scaramucci wrote a Solana book called Solana Rising? And by the way, he's like, I've heard him shout out all of his books, but he ignores the Algorand book. Did you know that he wrote an Algorand book? And now he doesn't talk about Algorand. Purity Argument says disregarding investor space behavior for some strange virtue about using on-chain features as a way to shut down conversation. Well, like I said, I think both sides matter. I think both are an important part of it. So yeah, I know what you mean. But I also think like, I do think both sides of that matter. Like there might, I might choose to hold less Algorand in the future, but I'll still use the chain because it's probably the easiest chain to use. But I like what I'm seeing on Hedera too. I've been using this little guy's funny. You guys are really, I just keep it. Let's not be personal. I have to separate you two. Green blue algos is part of the stipulation for accepting the Solana check. Yeah. Well, they never offer me the Solana check. maybe I'll do the Solana segment if they give me some money, but they're not giving me any money. How do I get on that? Just like I hear about how Israel's paying everybody. I'm like, well, I like Israel. I'll take some money. How come they're not offering me any? I got a voice. Yeah, I would like it. I would like let's like I said, guys, let's keep it not personal. We can disagree. It's okay. Ooh, Karate Combat 58 coming up. Oh, Sam Alvey. Ooh. So I'll tell you guys a story. Yeah, both of you guys, no more, no more name calling, okay? I have to time you. I have to give you guys timeouts. I'll turn this stream around. Well, I think you called him. You did call him like a doofus. So okay, you guys both got personal. So from now here on, no more personal. Okay, no more personal. Um, yeah, there's plenty of stuff with other chains that are wrong too. Anyway, Drab says Hedera doesn't even start mass marketing, just building at the moment. You did call him a doofus, did you not? IMJ, I think you called him a doofus. So he said you were little. So okay, you guys both traded some barbs. Let's calm down. Let's calm down. All right, I'm not going to read any more of those. So just guys, just move on. Talk about the actual stuff. So Sam Alvey, I want to talk about this because I do some editing for the guy who runs the school that I go to that I do jujitsu at. And he had an interview with Sam Alvey. That was pretty fun when he won the last time. So Sam Alvey is he's gonna defend his belt against the 6'7" KO artist Robelis de Spain. That's gonna be something. That's Smiling Sam Alvey, by the way. Smiling Sam Alvey. Okay, well, we're just no more personal, okay? Yeah, I probably shouldn't scroll on screen. Let's see. Yeah, I guess we got a short stream today, but I appreciate everyone tuning in. I think we had a great discussion, very lively chat, and okay, guys, just stop. Just stop. It's a good place to call it. You know, people are getting a little restless, and so we're gonna talk about we're just gonna be done, I think, today. But I appreciate everyone tuning in. Like I said, we should have a live stream with Nyla, which is the AI agent that's built on Algorand and Solana. Works on both of those chains, maybe some new ones, and we'll have to read about that a little bit. So anyway, um, we'll have that this week, so keep an eye out for that. Big thanks to our sponsors, Haystack. I keep wanting to say non-fungible domains, which is great, by the way. You should. Non-fungible domains is awesome as well. But big shout out to Haystack, and you can check it out in our link in our description. And big shout out to Marcus for Elias. Appreciate them. Both of those guys keep the channel alive, so I appreciate that. And otherwise, I'm Frugal BC. I hope you guys stay well out there. Stay peaceful. Love each other. You know, be cool with each other. As Bill and Ted said, be excellent to each other.